Yay!
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes,
Test. Oh,
hello.
they can't hear me say hello, everybody.
It's fine. Take two.
Now let's try that again with a actual microphone for the let's say.
Now you have to say everything again because we didn't have sound for us.
The nice thing is I only started our stream right before I said hello, everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
And Discord was working, so they still did hear everybody else but me.
Yeah, that's all good. Welcome everyone. We are playing 3.5 D&D, and we're gonna be adventuring in a cold, frozen wasteland, uh, known as a mysterious continent. And the current party is adventuring, looking for a magical object called the Orb of Winter, and it's debatable whether or not the current party has forgotten about that whole quest and found a new lifelong companion called Bait. And that might just be, their current quest to keep Bait alive instead of, looking for this mysterious orb. While the other party, um, you know, perhaps, finds it first. But who knows what will happen? Maybe they'll get into a fight. Maybe you know, maybe they'll just have like beach episodes every single day. And until then, we'll figure it out as we go. Um, but we got our players. We got Lego as Xenia. We have Rob as oh god, what's your face? What is your face? What is your face?
Razzlemeyer.
I can tell you this.
Or,
I can
sorry,
say
a
it.
bit.
Nope.
Oz.
Yeah, Oz, yeah.
It has a C in
Courtney
there.
as Daleth, and Raz as Ashmore.
With one
And
O.
and are there other players not here?
I like how
Sadness.
you have to correct his spelling, and I just keep not correcting him how to say Delith every time.
Wait, is it Daleth or Deleth?
Delith.
Okay. Did I say Deleth?
No,
Oh,
never, not once.
not once.
She's
Oh my
delightful
god.
to be with.
Alrighty. Well, are we yeah, we are on the map. And the last thing you guys remember is going through the Hydra nest, um, and fighting this weird psionic Hydra. Um, and when you guys were investigating, a little bit about this mysterious Hydra, you guys realized that it seemed very similar to a gem dragon, or like an amethyst dragon, or, one of those dragons who have like some psionic abilities, and you've never seen anything like that. You've never heard of stuff like that, and it even had a mark on this Hydra where you can kind of assume that this Hydra went under experimentation.
Yeah, did we, asking the party, did we take that that device with us? The blood infuser?
I don't remember.
I believe you guys left it. I didn't hear
It
anyone say they
doesn't
grabbed
sound
it.
valuable,
It's not in my inventory,
Yeah,
so.
I don't.
and it
I
sounds
didn't take it.
gross. So there's no way Delith picked it up,
But
unless
I
y'all
think
told
it
her to.
might be worth a return trip now that we've seen. Oh shit! This wasn't just an old thing. It's some of its creations are very much still around.
It's fair.
Alrighty. Well, um, with that being said, you guys you made it back all the way to uh the Dwarven Kingdom here. And not before, looting everything, grabbing everything you needed. You guys would have been able to collect any crystal samples or do anything with the Hydra, and and get all the valuables that you guys needed.
Yeah. Money.
But the main reason for doing all this was to get into this library and to get in favor with the dwarves and, create relations and do all that good stuff. When you guys enter back into, the dwarven city, there is probably a date of when that is happening. Like,
That's what I was gonna ask.
yeah.
Oh, also,
it's-
I realized that because the other party is the spell Windwalk, and it's like, man, when do I get to learn it? And then I realized, oh, it's a cleric spell.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is a cleric spell.
But it kind of puts my whatever carriage to shame. Like, if we need to transport a lot of shit, the carriage is the way to go. But
Hmm. It is a abnormally very fast movement spell, with the only hiccup being that you're stuck in that form until you cancel it.
I mean, that's not a huge drawback.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you
Which
want to
means you
use
have to
your
cast
lens or
it
anything.
multiple times a day to travel more than once.
I mean, I figure a lot of our trips seem to be go to a place, do something, and return. I can stormwalk us to return, in 10, to us instantly. Um, so as long as we have a really efficient way to get places, we can fucking be zooming.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Which it will take you about a day to get back to the Dwarven Kingdom. After defeating the Hydras, which it will be the 13th of
Summer.
summer. Surprise, surprise! It's summer and it's still cold. Oop. Okay. Back to Dwarven Capital. Made a note. Cool. And now that you're back, I believe it was Durbear. Durbear is an artificer. And he was kind of, I believe, the connection for all of you to bring you guys into the kingdom's library and get you the connections that you guys needed. And it's
He's
it's
definitely
like,
who brought us bait.
yeah, pretty much. Ooh, oh, what's going on? My screen was flashing. Fuck. I don't know where all my maps are. Where are they? Oh, it's all the way over here. But I guess the real question is, when you look inside this library, we could go through, the whole, oh, the guards are, trying to figure out who you are, and there's like a whole, like, meeting with maybe like the king or something, or a royal attendant, and
Ooh,
they
the
will,
king.
kind of like lead you through the capital of this dwarven kingdom. And there's actually a cute little map here that I think I showed you guys, but we'll show it to you guys again. And
So, but it's not the right
the
screen.
power of OBS, I can show chat. Boom. So you guys head to the palace, into the library, and now you are sitting in a multi-story room of books lining the areas. Now, we talked about the type of things that you were looking for, the type of information that you were looking for. And I guess we should probably make some search checks to find some interesting books, some interesting knowledge on what you're looking for. Um,
Would I be able to substitute search? I'm assuming this library is organized, right?
um,
Ooh, intelligence skill, Dewey Decimal System.
Exactly. Could I use the history check instead?
mm,
I
I will
mean,
allow an
knowing where
intelligence
something
check.
is geography, right? That's
Yeah, no. I will allow align the stars inside this library. um, I'll allow an intelligence check, and you can use the decimal system. And they probably have like this big book in the middle, and it is alphabetical order, and like you could flip through this giant book and look for some like interesting names as well. Like, oh, here's a book on animals of the land, and or what's in the Underdark, stuff like that. But yeah, you could give me a intelligence check instead.
Can I actually make another request? So if they do have a big ass index, basically, can I use Scholar's Touch to read the entire index?
that sounds like a much better plan. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's brilliant.
Okay.
Good use.
I'm playing a book character. My backstory is books.
Yeah. Yeah, try it out. Let's see what happens.
Okay. First question though is this book, what language is it written in?
It is written in Dwarven.
Then I shall cast comprehend languages first.
Okay. You now know the language of Dwarven as you comprehend the languages using magical, mystical powers.
Let's see.
We're on a new day, right? I can.
Oh my
delete all
god,
the
yeah.
spells I've
So I
used.
was trying to see
Yeah.
if this is like a certain pages. No, it's just if I touch a book, I can read the entire thing instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, it counts as if
Uh,
reading it once.
I do not
Yep.
get perfect recall, but what I would have gotten from reading it completely once.
Okay.
So it's not like I'd be able to. I could tell you like the summary of a plot or something, but I may not be able to tell you exactly, you know, what page it was or some stuff to that extent. So what this would let me do is basically get a general idea of what is in this library and what sections it's located in. And then I can
Mhm.
actually flip through the book myself, find that to look up the exact shelf and whatever.
Yeah. Um what when you do so, okay. You It's basically a book on, you know, obviously it has all the books in the library. That's your first thing that you know. The second thing, it is going to be divided into sections of each thing. Like uh ancient lore. Uh, there would be a section on magic. There would be a section on the gods. And there would be a section on, say, trying to come up with random baloney like
They're
dragons or
dwarves.
the
Beer
creatures of the
making.
land.
They're dwarves. They've got to have an entire section of their library dedicated to making beer, right?
Oh yeah, for
Or
sure.
weapons or armor.
Yeah, like there's like a whole food section.
Ooh, okay. This is interesting.
I'll let you pick a section, and then we can go from there if you want.
Oh god, I was not writing those down. I thought they were just general giving like details to adding, fleshing out the world, so to speak.
I mean, it's sort of like that, but it's like you know,
Yeah, I mean,
you
I'll
you
I'll let
you're
I
able to
guess
look
I'll
through the book and be like, oh, I know where that is in this book.
got you. Okay, I think
Like there's, you could look through the sections.
you know what? While before Raz has to leave, I'll do some role play with him so that he can get some stuff in. Ah, Ashmore, there's so much cool stuff in this library. What do you want to learn first?
The convenient spell. I need to try and maybe research that as a psionic power one day.
Yeah.
Man, well, there's so much, but gotta stay focused. All right, so
Oh, and
I
if I
guess
could add some flavor, I think that casting Amanuan, what is it? Scholar's Touch. I think my eyes go white like piece of paper, and as I touch the book, uh, a rush of letters and glyphs and symbols run over my image as if ink being drawn onto paper.
oh nice. Um, Funny because your spell lets you read a whole bunch. I have a sonic power where I can where Ashmore can read something and it stays locked in. Like he can verbatim
Oh, and
say the whole
that's
thing. Yeah.
useful. Okay, so Xenia's could be like the generalist and you could be the specialist. I can read a shitload of books and be like, oh, this one, you gotta try this one.
Yeah, it's called eidetic lock and it let me see. Oh, oh, that's not it. It's touch. I can telepathically embed. uh, Yeah, there it is. The creature can. Oh, I can do this for other people.
Oh
Oh,
shit!
oh my god.
I can
Prepare to
telepathically.
learn.
I can telepathically
Oh my
embed an image
wait,
or a short passage of text into the long-term memory of a single creature. The creature can,
you
any time within the duration, thoroughly describe the image or recite the passage verbatim. The limit to this ability is an image of a single non-moving figure or a passage of non-magical or non-psionic nature of up to 500 words.
could literally beam the B movie into somebody's head against their will.
You spend 4 additional power points, the duration of power becomes instantaneous. The information becomes permanently locked in the creature's mind.
Oh my god.
Holy moly! I know everything.
So, right. So if there's like very important text that he would need perfectly memorized, he's capable of that. Or he's
That's
capable of
actually
letting somebody else do it, like Xenia. I can put the power on her, and then she
I
can
think
lock in what she wants.
while Xenia would definitely love to have knowledge locked permanently in her head, I think it'll be more fun to roleplay two scholars like bouncing ideas back and forth.
Right. Um, Yeah, because he'd run out of PowerPoints before even the first book. So like,
Oh damn.
Oh,
it's only 500 words, and for it to be permanently locked in, it'd be 5 PowerPoints for every 500
So
words. Yeah,
it's gonna be a very
it's got to
important
be
book.
very important stuff that he'll use it for, stuff that we can never forget or shouldn't ever forget, or get
okay.
wrong
So we'll
or
gotcha.
misinterpret or
That
whatever.
seems like heavy lore, either like for you personally or for the campaign.
Right. Like, I don't know, in case there's like like it works on images too, in case there's like an image or some text, like maybe there's a poem or song or password or something that needs to be said perfectly. Like rather than risk messing up something, he'll like eidetic lock it and be like, okay,
Hmm.
this is he'll make sure he doesn't it doesn't mess up.
Hmm. All
Say
right.
it verbatim. But he asks, all right, so he goes, well, all right, so there's only if as much as I'd love to just sit here in this library for days, we don't
Why
can't
can't we?
necessarily do that.
Well,
Well,
why not?
I don't think the rest of the party would be happy about that.
Oh, well, we can find something for them to do. It's
And
okay.
his psi crystal comes up into his shoulder and it glows and it goes, well, I can stay here. You can leave. And it's like, no, you're gonna come with me. I'm not leaving you here by yourself. Um, and so the psi crystal, like you see the crystal like kind of like droop down a bit as if like not happy with that. And then so Ashra goes, all right, so see if there's any topics. Are there any topics with what you discovered in this index concerning did we get a name for that gnome fortress place?
You
We did.
did.
We did.
I've got
That
it in my
was
notes.
the
Bait
Zarnath.
would know. Bait would know this
yeah
stuff.
Zarnath.
Zarnath. So then information on Zarnath, uh,
Okay, so
and
check out some of the
information
history of
on
the
the
continent.
Orb of
Okay.
Winter,
Oh, definitely.
and hmm, I guess anything concerning the the environment, like what regions have what kind of creatures, and
It might also
definitely
be
anything psionic related. If there's any
okay.
topics
Okay.
psionic related, let me know. Or gem
Okay.
dragons.
Okay. Dragons too.
The list
Just
keeps getting longer. It's like
Right.
exactly.
He's trying really. He's like, and oh
Oh,
no, that
it
can
might
wait.
be.
That can wait.
It might even be worth it to try to find like old crop records from as far back as they have, so that we can try to see how the food supply has been changing over time.
hmm.
I'm sure that I'm surely they keep track of their harvests to some degree.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
that could be something. Could be
Um,
something.
who's writing those downs?
Well, I think
Because
Yeah,
uh,
let me sort a list. Hold on.
'cause I'm
All
being
right, we've got.
serious. Like we will go through this one by
Ash
one.
was he does at this point he does ramble a few other things, but then he takes it all. He's like, no. All right, no, just we'll just stick with what I already said. Not adding anything else because we could be here forever. We just need to know these things. But I will be back here, no matter what the dwarfs may say or think of us. Have a strange premonition. I get that sometimes. A psionic
Okay.
influx of sonic
Let's just
influx
say
of energy sometimes sparks visions. Like I can't explain it, but
I have a feeling about something. All right. What's the first thing you guys want to learn? What's the
Oh, what if we look into dragons? Because I feel like that's rather important. You were sent here because your people believed that there's a history of dragons here. Clearly, we know that the Orb of Winter is being guarded by a dragon. We know that there is a society of white dragons here. It seems like dragons are really important to whatever all has happened here.
Then yes, and there's clearly a relation between Zarnath and the creature that we defeated and Psionic Energy. So then our top three, we need stuff on Zarnath, Orb of Winter, and dragons.
All right. You start looking through the index, and you can kind of get like a good idea of where things are, and you go to the section of um. We'll start with the Orb of Winter. You start looking through magic, and then you go to like subsections, going through like, oh, there's there's a book on psionics over here. Oh, there's the casting crazy elemental spells. Oh, there's cold spells, and then you go to the next subsection. You find um what do you call it? You find magic items. You're like, ooh, maybe this is where it is, and then you go through a couple more of the names of books, and oh, that's interesting. Ancient relics. Um, and then there is one right under ancient relics called the Orb of Winter. And you guys can get the name or of like where it is in the library, and when you go to look for this book is behind a locked uh a locked area. If you guys ever watched what is it called, Game of Thrones, where they have like a locked area, and only certain people can go inside.
Oh, Psionic Knock.
Is there
No,
a I suppose that there's a
no,
like a head librarian, right? Somewhere?
There is.
you see
Have
Ashmore
we
start to use a power for a split second, and then he
Oh,
stops. He's like, "I
I won't tell
I
anyone.
must refrain. That was a poor judgment on my part. I got a bit too excited. I was
It's
going to
okay.
psionically unlock that just now, but we should get permission before we
It's
anger the
okay.
dwarves."
I'm on the edge too.
All right, you talk to the head librarian.
Do we have a name for them? And if you don't have one, don't feel like you have to make one.
Uh, let me check the map. Save. Go down to the Dwarven Fortress and characters. Nope, no name yet.
Wow, the other group has been to this library multiple times and they never even talked to the head librarian.
Yeah, they never ask for his name. They probably are like, oh, it's just a guy. um,
The fact that you want to ask for their name already proves that we're the better party. I'm just saying, we're more polite. They're going to believe that we're not doing bad things. Because
Yeah,
they're like,
there we go.
we
you guys didn't even talk to me, but they were polite enough to be like, oh, what is your name? How are your children doing?
Mhm.
yeah, we
Um,
walk up and we're like, "Yo, Aldeguar, what's up?" And the other party walks in and they're like, "Yeah, you can't trust the other people."
Slender. But he's an older man. He's got like the gray hair, long beard, short stature. Uh, your typical dwarf. But another thing, I never really mention this. And I usually just say they're dwarves, but the dwarves here are actual glacial dwarves.
Hmm.
which just like a different
Oh, okay.
sub race, and then they or he, yeah, he's got this like decrepit old voice. Oh, I am able to help you. Uh, I do hear that the king has given you permission to even go into the restricted zone just under the supervision of myself.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, and sorry. What was your name again?
Oh, my name. It's you know, I know this game where you roll 3d20s, and suddenly I can recall my name. Would you like to play that game?
Oh, is it
I
gambling?
love
Yeltsin.
games. Oh, Dallas, get over here. This is perfect for you.
Oh, you're willing to play?
It's okay, Dallas. You got this. And I'm rubbing your shoulders. Kiwi's doing a really good job. They got like the vibration and like all the.
Okay. Roll me a 20-sided dice 3 times, okay? What was your name, the young one?
Delith.
Oh,
Um,
Delith.
Yeah, I got a 14, an 11, and a 14.
Oh, 14. I have to recall what. Bay. 14 what?
14, 11, 14.
Okay. 14, 11, 14. Balls ball.
God.
Kyla, you need a better random name generator.
You really do.
Hey man, you rolled badly. You rolled this 2 of the same names.
Look,
But balls.
everything was over 10. That was all good times. That's
Yeah, that was pretty good for just a flat 20. Oh, hey, what if all 4 of us roll 1d20?
Or actually roll D100s. That's not how you're actually supposed to do it. But, we're just having fun here.
Can you put that in chat so that we can immortalize this character forever?
Yeah, definitely. I will where is Okay, so it is Okay. Belbazball! You must remember that, young one. I've been around for almost 300 years. Not once. Not once have I forgotten it until now, actually. Oh, and yesterday. Maybe the day before.
Will you remember a different name tomorrow?
If we
Oh
just
my
all
god,
said-
that would be.
Oh no, of course that would never happen. He like thinks for a moment. I
That would be
remember
a
my name was once.
hysterical gag.
Okay. But yeah, that's kind of like the thing he does. Let's see. Okay, so you find a book, and it is called The Orb of Winter. You could pick it up, start reading it, and I'm gonna attempt to find the info that we need for this because I do have somewheres in all of my little history books that I put on the Google Drives. Somewheres I put info on this. Tales of Frostburn. Episode planning, acts, character quests. What about locations? This is not a city. This is a not nations. Locations. Okay, continents. Oh, maybe it's this one. Ooh, okay. I think this is where. It's very close. Is it the pyramid? No, something totally different. Okay, well, I'm gonna recount of what I remember from the top of my head. Basically, this book starts talking about the creation of the world. And
Oh.
at one point in the creation of the world, magic formed. And when magic formed, it was formed into a crystallized version, a highly condensed magic. And during the process of creation, these highly condensed magical particles, these magical crystals, and they come in all shapes and sizes, are kind of just like end up in the earth, or during the creation they kind of got meshed up into the elements and the different planes and all sorts of stuff. And it's kind of saying at one point when people started finding these, they started creating uh, magical items so powerful that they these magical items were on par with gods, or on par to cast like 10th, 11th, 12th level spells, or be able to create such destructive power that um it was basically unimaginable, like unlimited magical energy within these small pieces of like crystal. And one of these crystals that they found, they used to create a magical object, no bigger than like a a ball of seeing. Is that I can't remember. It's basically like a handheld orb, um, crystal that looks like a white, it has whitish on it. It's blue. It swirls, and around it has like a small swirl of like snow that constantly uh orbs this crystal, and thus they named this the Orb of Winter. And when the Orb of Winter is used, it can create storms and um create the environment to change into a winterland, where maybe once it was a desert or a forest, or a lush beach, or turning oceans into uh, a frozen flat sheet. And that's kind of what this book is talking about, and that is what the Orb of Winter is. It doesn't tell you exactly where the Orb of Winter was, or who had it last, or uh but it's basically recounting legends of its uses and what it was capable of if you had magical power, or if you had magic or similar. It doesn't it could be arcane, it could be psionic, it could be divine, it could be supernatural. All the power of this orb was able to combine with that with your powers and enhance it like tenfold.
So, is there like an image, or are there any images within this book depicting the usage of this orb? I'm assuming they at least had a
Not
picture of the orb itself, but anything of like a person wielding it, for example?
Yeah, they so there are like small little like images of like when you're looking at this image, it is painted onto this like old paper parchment, and it is a man holds it up on like a uh he's like holding it up on a mountain, and it looks as if like he's casting a spell, and uh in the far distance he creates there's like a snowstorm. That's like kind of like what you can sort of understand what's going on. There's also a picture of its what it actually looks like as well.
Use an eidetic lock in both images, permanent.
Ooh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah, no
actually
problem.
might even,
Do
because
you want it permanently in your head too, Xenia?
I might want the image of the orb for the purpose of scrying.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right. So
Yeah,
then I
that's a good idea.
that's clever.
place my hand upon Xenia and use eidetic lock, and I let her know, all right, just focus your mind on what you want to lock into, and it will do it for you. And you can
Okay.
feel your mind being rewired psionically to be able to do that.
It's probably very interesting because Zinnia's mind is very chaotic, and
Mm.
this is Ashmore literally his mind entering into hers. Ashmore, how would you describe your mind?
Um, that's the funny thing. He lawful in alignment. So his would be very organized, highly disciplined, and structured. Um, so I guess almost polar opposites in that sense.
Yeah, I would describe you entering Zenya's mind as kind of like walking into it'd be like a museum, except instead of a big museum that's been curated in a purpose-built building, this is like somebody's personal collection. They've got things hung and displayed, just lying around everywhere, but everything's labeled. Everything is very interesting. But it's one of those where if you were to walk through this little house of a museum, you'd have to be, you might feel worried about, knocking something over. So just a lot of thoughts, a lot of images, there's things scattered around, purposeful but orderly disorder.
Okay. I want to go to what Daleth and Oz are up to while all this is happening. Um, and what they are doing while you guys are doing your research and magical, shenanigans of reading and, all that fun stuff.
I mean, Spoil Library too. I probably don't look nearly as excited about every little thing like Delith and Ashmore probably do.
Mhm.
But I'm still, looking around for the things that they've discussed, as well as the things I sent you earlier, and just if something looks really out of place, I probably want to look at that too.
Yeah.
I happen
Um,
across something really useful, I'm not going to turn it down.
Elith,
My
I want
search for all those things was hot garbage, though.
yeah, Della, I want you to roll me a knowledge religion. I'm assuming you have that.
I do. And it's far better than my search.
Okay.
Like night and day different.
Mm-hmm.
21. Still didn't roll right,
21.
but
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Got out, head out, have good research. Hey, sounds good, Ran. Also, Epic Dave, you're welcome in, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. All right. So, a 20. I'm
21.
gonna add more info onto your onto your info that you were looking at before,
Sounds good.
and I'm gonna give you a little list to look at. Save the changes. You should be able to bring it up now, and there is new goodies to look at. And this is like, you know, you're looking through the books and you're um finding info, and looking through the covers, and you're like, oh, that looks interesting, and maybe you're spending your own time to do some reading and um trying to really figure this place out, really get into depth of like, oh, maybe there's a book on gods, and maybe there's what who are you know who are the important people here, or stuff like that. And that's kind of what you find. And let me know
As
if the new info popped up for you in the book.
Yes, it did. I think I have found it.
Cool. What about you, Oz?
yeah. So Oz feels a little guilty that I feel a little guilty that I wasn't as useful in the last couple combats. And
Kick your
so
ass. It's
I'm going
fine.
to go the personal thing, just not as effective. And so I'm gonna go see if I can find um like either like a martial arts studio or basically somebody who is training the locals here um for combat. And I would like to see if I can pay to get a couple lessons. Because what I'd really like to do in the metagame of it is maybe reorganize and retrain a class that I don't feel is helping me as much in keeping
Okay.
myself alive and keeping the group alive. So I feel like that's the first and foremost thing is to get some experience from locals who had to live with you know the stuff on this island or the continent, and kind of get the inside scoop on things I should know to be an adventurer here.
Mm-hmm. Uh, okay. So you could take a look around and investigate the area.
Yeah, and still getting local flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Just ingratiating myself with the locals. If I see a cat on a really high, stalagmite. Maybe I'll go and, and pull it down for a young dwarf child. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
local superhero stuff,
Uh,
friendly neighborhood Oz stuff.
and you could definitely do that. You could find people who are in need. You could find all these things, and eventually, maybe talking to some of the locals, who you're helping out, and uh, just feeling more useful. Uh, you're gonna learn that the there's kind of like a not like really a guild. It's more like a
Mhm.
fighters uh sparring area. Hmm.
Little arena type thing.
Yeah, kinda. And it is run by the Stone Children.
Okay.
If you know
Hardy
what a
folk.
Stone Child is, they
Yeah.
are basically half Earth Elemental, half almost like a Goliath or a human.
Right.
They're very tall. They have stony skin, similar to a Goliath, but um, they more have like stony plates. And it's these guys who have a sort of like a fighter's um, little dojo thing that you can learn from.
Yeah, I'd love to go get roughed up by them. You know, just diving into some form of combat experience. Um, you know, Finding a great sparring partner to help focus my skills and abilities.
Hmm. You're gonna realize that they're very strong. Um, Basically, each one of them, and you're no stranger to being probably like the strongest around yourself. Like
Big fish, small pond style strong.
yeah,
Yeah.
and these guys are like as strong as you in at some points, and uh but there's a lot of them who train kind of like a monk, and then there's some of them who train uh sort of like a fighter, and they do a lot of like wrestling, stuff like that, and it's more like close and personal type of
hmm
fighting.
Yeah. No, I'll go adopt the name punching bag because I'll just get beat up by one person and then kind of move to the next person and be like, okay, what do you got to teach me, coach? I could do this all day.
Wonderful. Alrighty. uh okay, so that's what you do. We'll go back to Xenia and um Ashmore, and you guys are looking through your guys's next book, looking for a book of dragons, and you're able to find a book of dragons. um it's going to talk about this place, the home of dragons, the place where almost all dragonkind once stood proud, and the great dragon lords all were under one roof, or under one land. um and the name of this place is called Astron, the the home of all dragons. Their Some of their main temples are pyramids made of like gold, and inside are their greatest treasures, uh which is like one part, and another part is talking about some of uh the great dragons and who they are. And then when you're reading the names of these dragons, one pops up. One of them kind of like, you're like, wait a minute, I've heard that name before. And one of the dragon lords is someone named Aquaria, which is a name similar to one of the Great Six gods back in your homeland, who is the goddess of the sea, this serpent dragon.
Hmm.
And it's saying here she's one of the great dragon lords.
The book talk about species of dragons that we normally don't see on our home continent, particularly gem
Um,
dragons.
yeah, it will definitely talk about, all sorts of dragons. And you will 100% find, information about the gem dragons and their whereabouts, and some of them really enjoy hanging out in the Underdark, or in dark places where it's really hard to get to, and they'll create layers down there.
Well, everyone looks really excited now. It's like yes.
Um, this book, it's more like a history uh and lore on, like, how to find them. Um, it would be pretty rare to find like a really old book and be like, oh, there's a dragon over here, but is he still gonna be there? Maybe. Um, but the closest gem dragon uh on this land would be in, hello, map. It's not that one. It is in a place called the Abyss. Um, when it talks about the Abyss, it is in the Underdark, here in a place called Vern. And after reading, a couple books of, the places, you're gonna realize that this land is called Vern.
Um,
The
Are you saying that Vern is the place in the Underdark, or this entire continent is Vern?
this entire continent.
We have an end.
You have the name. The Abyss is in the Underdark, and it's called the Abyss because it's on a layer where there is a sea of fog, and eventually, when you hit a certain area, it just drops deeper suddenly, uh, down into a massive cavern. And inside this cavern um, lives, the deepest and darkest creatures, anything from um, centipede people and um, evil beings who enjoy to um, do sacrifices, and one of these creatures are the gem dragons, who like hanging out in here because it's so barren and there's not many rivals that it needs to, worry about.
Hmm. And you said that would where the closest Shem Dragons was last recorded being.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, Ashmore was excited and then disheartened all at once.
Uh,
He really wants to find and meet one and speak with one and acquire its sage knowledge and advice, and hopefully learn psionic powers from Gem Dragon. But he's like, oh, yeah, you notice he looks a little disheartened, but then like he shakes his head and he's like, ah, this is just one book. There's got to be records or someone that might know of Gem Dragons that are not in this supposed forsaken place deep below the Underdark.
Yeah, you could probably uh you'll be able to read further in, and the home of dragons called Astron has gem dragons for sure.
Yeah, he's there, definitely making note of Astron, and that
Yeah.
sounds like a more reachable place at the moment.
Yeah, it's in this book they don't have much information on like where or what because it's basically telling you that the home of dragons is so far away that it would take a couple months to get to from here. Like maybe even a whole year. If you were to go by boat.
Oh wow, okay. Definitely make a mental note of that. A
Actually,
future journey for him, that's for sure. Once he's explored enough of Vern and acquire this orb of winter, so that the land can breathe again, in a sense.
What was that, Daleth?
I was just asking if I could get the spelling of Vern because I'm putting it in my notes.
VIRN.
VIRN.
Well, I'm glad I asked because that was not the first way I would have spelled it or the second way I would have spelled it.
All good.
Tales
And
of
then
Frostburn. Very close
I
to
mean, that makes
Frostburn.
sense, but shh, don't talk sense
the
to me.
the third book um that you're gonna find is Zarnath. Uh, and this one is another book. The dragon one wasn't in like a secure area, but Zarnath was. Uh, once again in the secured area. And this is a uh, research center. And a couple of things come up when it's talking about this research center about a special project um, regarding using other creatures' blood to empower the weaker races or to just empower yourself in general. And or using the bloodlines of ancient beings, like an Elithid, to infuse, um, say, a chimera, to do some like weird, just like weird shenanigans to get more powerful, or
Pretty
stuff like
much
that.
crazy Frankenstein type shit. Okay.
Yeah. And it was definitely at first it was this whole thing to, you know, why were they trying to get more powerful? And when you're reading on, during this war, they were trying to use this new technology, this new way of creating these like super soldiers, to take the strengths of other creatures and infuse themselves with these to reach certain heights that, to get there quickly, basically. And most things ended up being like dragons or giants, that they would take these bloodlines and to empower themselves with, becoming big and strong, or being able to um to empower yourself with like flames, or suddenly grow wings, and all sorts of things. Uh, and with this project was called Project Godkiller.
Interesting name.
And that's some of the things that you're gonna read up on what this facility was used for.
Project Odd Killer.
Other than that, I'm gonna look at some of the other things. So we have dragons, Orb of Winter, um, settlements, and strongholds on the continent. Is that something you guys want to look into?
On this
Yeah,
continent?
this sounds like it'd be
Yeah.
part of the geography thing that somebody wrote down, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to know more?
I would. I do like to know about geography.
Wonderful. The geography of this land, uh, right here, save. Okay, so there are a couple main parts of this land. There is the Lich Tower, where it talks about this tower with a lich, and they call it Fenrir's Point. There is also north of that, a giant crater, which was once said to have been a magical crater created by a a fight between the gods and the great old ones, and stuff like that. And then just north of that would be the Great Forests, with all of the savage creatures that hide within it. And it talks about this. There is a forest of winter elves or snow elves, called the Woods of the Calm. Oh shit. Yo, thank you for
Yo.
5 gifted subs to Live and Let's Die community.
Nice.
Oh shit.
Going crazy. Yo, I also love the name Captain Salty Pickles.
Damn. Yo, congrats. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome. Dave.
um this land is going to have
Would
the
you say
land
that-
itself in the Calm Woods has a fog that confuses people, and when you enter, it makes it so that you are so confused that you just walk out back from where you came, or into a different part of inside the woods, and
Sorry, it was
there is.
Jate TM. Okay, sorry.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I think Epic Dave. It was Jate DM. Thanks, dude. That was
JT.
super awesome. JT. That's a
That
great
makes
way.
more sense.
That way makes way more sense.
That's how I read it too.
JT.
Is JT.
Sorry about that.
No,
Proceed,
yeah,
proceed.
all good, man. And another thing inside this land, is what they say is a spirit wolf, a mystical being from the spirit realm, a wolf that prowls the land and protects it, and protects the elves and the creatures within it. It is said to be a legendary wolf that once lived and continues to live. Um, then the one of the main cities in this land is the Monster City, which it kind of talks about, and um, the Monster City is called Strand, and it is ruled by a demon queen, and it's kind of like a city for the free, for anyone to do anything chaotic, and there's not like a lot of rules, but if there are, it's the demon queen who's at the tip top, um and she's the big boss. What else? And then there is the Great Dragon Kingdom, just north of the city of Strand, which has the Great Lord Drax, an ancient white dragon who's lived 1,000 years plus, who's been around for a very long time. Um, and those are a couple of the places that the land talks about. And then it'll start going into the Underdark and what it kind of looks like. There's like, it'll be like lines and how to get where. And it kind of looks like a map on how to get around in the Underdark here. Which there's like a demon fort, there's a giant ant colony, which is pretty dangerous. There is a huge marsh that covers a large span, and right beside the huge marsh is what they call the abyss, which is what kind of sounds familiar with the gem dragon problem. Um, and then beside that, the abyss on the other side is this place called the Underfrost, and it is a place where water is seeped down into the earth, and because of the changing temperatures, most of the underground in that area has turned into frozen underground wasteland. And a lot of the northern parts are these like jungle areas where there is a place called the Undergrowth, which is full of forests, and they talk about how to get down from the surface. You go down in through a sinkhole in the ground in the forests of um, from up top. There is a place called Taiga Forest where a great being lives that stalks the land in there, and it's basically like a giant jungle system. Uh, and it continues going on. There's even more. Uh, but I'm gonna stop there because yeah, it's a
Well,
lot.
next time, hardcore, you should ask the librarian what their name is.
uh,
Yeah, our party has some nerds in it.
Yeah.
Hardcore nerds.
and that's what you get from at least like geography in general of like what place has what kind of where are the cities. There's actually a city in the abyss as well of what it says, but they're not like exactly really good guys. It's kind of like they can probably be dealt with through like diplomacy, but they're they're better than the demons in the underground. Um, yeah. All right, what else do you guys want to learn?
Whatever hardcore's group asked, we are asking that question to learn to see if we find out more than I'm joking.
Um, starting that specifically history on the continent, crop records.
Yeah, I haven't. I know it's a weird thing that you probably have zero preparation for, but basically, all I'm looking for is to see was there like periods of famine at any point in their recorded history?
hmm Um, you're able to find some crop records, and it talks about when there would be periods of snow here, and then eventually there wasn't. Or like like eventually there wasn't an ability to do farming and doing the regular crop routines above ground. And the records eventually kind of switch over to a time where they instead do their farming underground in the underdark, and things like mushrooms are really prevalent. Hunting bugs, or some sorry, I'm burping. Some of the creatures of the great dark. Um, those are just a couple things on the top of my head that I could think of. Basically, they
Interesting.
changed the way they farmed.
Uh, how long ago did they finally have to switch to underground?
Uh, at least 500 years or
About
more.
500 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
it basically uh, long enough for because I still haven't figured out the year count of everything. Basically, just think of long enough for it to make sense.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, if
With
you need
everything
to
else
like
lining up.
retcon in the future, that's perfectly fine. Just let us know.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
And
I'm
that's
just
basically what's going
writing
on with that.
500. 500's a long time.
Mhm.
This matches up. The dates where they had to switch to underground farming matches up with the dates we were getting based on the wood that we investigated.
I mean, that does make sense. I'm glad it's not straight up strange, because then we'd have a whole nother slew of things to figure out.
I'm sure that Xenia and maybe Ashmore reading through a book of crop records is the least interesting to everyone else.
Wow, look at this. They changed the way they farmed. They went underground.
We're nerding out like,
They were-
oh, look, you can see how they are over time figured out which crops did better in the new environment. Started planting more of them. Fascinating.
Look at all
I
these
start
different.
asking the librarian if other people are as weird as those two.
Go. You know, this one time, this one group came in here and they started asking about. Oh, I can't quite remember. It was something weird, like where the Dragon Lord is, and what does he eat, and does he like mushrooms or something?
Dragon Lord.
Yes, yes. They were talking about what whether to visit.
Thing.
Then they ended up going somewheres.
Um,
Not gonna lie, I'm assuming was this dragon lord named Drax?
Oh yes, the only Dragon Lord on this land.
I too would be interested in talking to Drax. He would have been alive before it all happened, according to at least the geography book.
The
I
old
like the
man nods.
I like the idea of that also. He would know more about
you
the
guys
gem
want to talk
dragons.
to dragons? I feel like that is highly dangerous.
What's the worst that could happen? Lose an arm?
I feel like there are more things to lose when you go talk to dragons. But you know,
Not a leg.
It's on the dragon.
if they're good dragons, it might be fine.
What
I
is
don't know. We
Drax?
make it all
The
along.
dragon. How is he described?
He is described as being a heavily scarred white dragon with ruins on his body carved into it. Um, that's
A
sort
white
of
dragon.
how they describe him.
Huh.
I rolled one of the other two to know that the white dragon is usually not a pleasant dragon.
Yeah, they're usually yeah.
I think my
You get
Arcana.
experience level.
Yeah. I'll take 10 of
You
my
understand that
Arcana
white
for
dragons.
26 on that.
Yeah.
I successfully ate the +3.
Yeah, Ashmore definitely.
Cindy's like, oh, but they
Although he
use
would
cold
also know
magic.
how they also considered the most stupid of the dragons. Also, how did one become a dragon
We
lord?
not say that in front of him. Just throwing it out there. We don't mention that. If we meet this person, we don't say that. We keep that part to ourselves.
Now, I'm also might just be going out on a limb here. But, Ashmore, you were just questioning, how could he become. Was that Ashmore who was questioning how he
Yeah.
could become so powerful? Well, I mean, the description in here is talking about how he has runes carved into him. And I can't help but think that the Book of Zarnath mentioned that some of the ways that they were trying to enhance creatures was not only through blood, but or actually, sorry, I think that was the Orb of Winter book, described you creating powerful magical runes using the elemental crystals. You
Ah,
don't
so
think that perhaps he enhanced his ability, do you?
he has embedded magical runes that enhance his powers, then that would explain why he's uncontested as the Dragon Lord. You say a white dragon. Wait a second. So, like, are there images of him in this book, and or any of the books? that we find on Drax?
There is like an old image. Um,
Does it
and
match the one of the white dragon that did we get an image of a yeah, does it match the one of the white dragon on the at the temple on the mountain?
no, it does not. Looks completely different.
Okay.
The white dragon on the mountain looked at least like a huge dragon. But the way they just
So
the
like an adult, a
the
mature
picture,
adult.
maybe the picture book is, hyping him up. But Drax looks as big as, you know, like a small mountain.
Ah, okay. Ancient great worm, kinda. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like
Afro
that.
was worried if maybe it might have been Drax, maybe guarding that temple, but he's relieved to know that it's not. Although that means it could be a minion of Drax. Well, I'll turn to Xenia. So, where do you think we should go from here? We're going after if the Orb of Winter is our priority.
Is our
Uh,
priority, but I think we need more information. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah. Well, that temple. I want more information on that.
On Zarnath or the temple on what is it called? Winter's Peak?
Yeah.
You guys
Oh,
want to
so
look
is it
for
Winter
info on
Peak or
that then?
Winter's Peak?
Yeah.
Is it Winter Peak or Winter's Peak? One or two words. Also,
Mm, you might be confusing it with another thing.
uh,
Because this place with the temple is called the Glacial Claw.
interesting. Because I've got on my notes, we have a schematic for the Winter Peak Temple.
Mmm.
And you called it the Glacial Claw. Is the Glacial Claw the mountain then?
The Glacial Claw is the mountain.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Let's see if they have anything on either the Glacial Claw or Winter Peak.
Okay. You guys can look into it. And there is yet another old book locked away. And it talks about, this temple. This temple called the Winter's Peak. And it was dedicated to the achievement of creating something very powerful. And they wanted to create a safe place to keep it. And they created like a safeguard for this place. There's also a way to get to it using an underground passage in the Underdark, and you fly or climb up through the Underfrost and into this temple without having to grow through the impending storm and freezing to death, which is, one way to do it.
And is that the same the same secret passage that we found in Zarnath?
Um, in Zarnath, no. This seems like a totally separate. Or wait, yes, that's the same thing. When in Zarnath, when it was talking about it, the temple, there was a secret passage, and this is yet
Yeah,
again
we got the
telling you about that.
schematic for the secret passage in Zarnath.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, same thing. It's telling you about this secret passage on how to get inside unhindered.
Hindered. That sounds good. Okay.
Uh, and with this place, it talks about a process of basically creating a key using um, powerful artifacts and a ritual of blood and um, needing basically like a certain combination and um, kind of how to close it and open it and all sorts of stuff like that.
Well, that explains why they had all those creatures down at the bottom of Zarnath and the map of how to get there. It's probably how they got up there.
I don't know if this is too early to say, but my hypothesis is the orb of winter might is right there in that temple.
I think that would make sense. That is where we saw the Winter's Blast come from.
Well, now that we have a good idea of
I'd have
where
to
it's
think there's at
at and
least
what's
clues there.
guarding it, or at least clues. Yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
know that's that sounds like definitely a place we would need to go next. We know about the Guardian. We have this map that can help us get there. I guess all we would need to know is what to expect, what sort of hazards and dangers and denizens would be in these passages, and that we would have to deal with to get there. And then we can make preparations and be on our way. We'll have to talk to the others about this.
Yeah, it also sounds like this key is probably not gonna be super easy to forge. I mean, we've got the description of what did you call it, a binding process? Heidelin?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Is there did the book describe it as a binding process to create the key?
Uh,
Or a
it was
summoning or
yeah,
just a crafting?
it's kind of very vague on the details
Okay.
on what this key exactly is, but it sounds like it's some sort of ritual. Dealing with blood and passwords and all sorts of stuff. Just
But it needs to be done to enter the temple.
not to enter the temple, to enter to lock away or open the treasure.
Okay. So no point going there until we figure out either how to make such a key, or maybe one has already been made and is lost somewhere. More stuff
I
to
mean, I
research.
kind of hope we find one already made because it sounds like a tedious and not fun and kind of gross process. So,
More
sorry,
stuff
I didn't
to
mean to talk over
research.
you guys.
I'm actually with you on this one.
Same here.
Usually I love for the research, but I don't like grocery shopping.
Well, um, when you're reading this book and continuing on and doing more research, it talks about using a tool to draw out certain powers to activate this ritual. Um, like a tool to take blood out, put it inside, and use it in a certain way. But it doesn't describe how it's done. Um,
Well, it's
And
a
what?
good thing we just came from a temple that's all about blood magic.
Indeed. Indeed.
Well then, that sounds like we could get more information from there. Hopefully, information that one was already made and needs to be discovered, or at least hopefully discovered. Hope nobody is
Mhm.
holding on to it.
Yeah,
Um,
well, it's probably worth stopping by Zarnath on our way back.
Yeah.
But
that-
actually, where are we planning to go after this? I'd still like to at least snoop around the library a little bit longer.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we're not in, I guess, too much of a rush. Yeah, let's talk with everybody and see how long is a good time to hang out here. And, learn more about this place and the continent and read more of these books and gain experience.
Talk to the locals, befriend them.
mhm.
Right.
Become
All right. Well,
indispensable
you
members
guys.
of their adopted family.
See if there's any side quests. If somebody needs, I don't know, their pet lizard rescued from a
Hanging
chasm
out
they
on
fell in
someone's
or
couch.
something.
uh,
But
yeah, you guys
but
can
yeah.
meet up, talk about, where you guys want to go next. Um, so it sounds like you guys want to go to Zarnath, back and try to figure out more stuff of what you need.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think.
getting.
Yeah, I think head back that way. But then after that, feels like we're kind of open ended. I mean, obviously, we kind of have a lead of if we go talk with with the Drax. If we can get a meeting with him, we can maybe ask some questions, see what he knows. But I get the feeling that that a great dragon, ruler of a kingdom of dragons, probably not the easiest person to get on the schedule with.
You don't regularly talk to great ruler dragons?
And it's and this
That's
Drax is a white dragon, and they're pretty ferocious. More than likely, s- might get annoyed and eat us.
I mean, maybe you guys, but he would never do that to me. I'm far. It would never happen.
I think he and I might get along. We could bond over the cold.
Rob and Courtney are much louder than everyone.
Which stream are you watching it on?
Hidas.
I don't. Yeah. Don't know. Can't do anything about that.
I said like only a couple words in the last 5 minutes. That's I'll be quieter.
All right, I turned you guys down on my
Really,
side
he's
at
just
least.
saying Courtney's loud very politely.
That's
That's really what he just said.
I adjusted my audio just a little bit. Hopefully that makes it a little bit clearer.
On Hydas. Yeah, you can Discord individually change each person's
Yeah, I
volume.
I changed it a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragon Kingdom is a possibility. Um, the real question is this ancient lord of, all powerful dragon gonna give random people information on an ancient artifact, how to get it, where it is, Why wouldn't a dragon keep it for himself?
You guys want to go to the Underdark?
Oh, you'd like that.
Yes, I would.
Ah, if that's where we need to go.
I mean, I don't really think we have a clear direction of this is where we gotta go. We
Right.
could just kind of wherever the wind blows.
Hmm. We need to start somewhere.
Well, let's see. We have a lot of information. You know, another place I actually really want to check out is that giant crater.
The
I feel
abyss?
like no, the giant crater. I believe it's north of Fenrir's Point, the Lich
Oh,
Tower.
okay. I know what crater on the map. The one that's on
Yeah,
the map.
the
Mhm.
one that was created through magic, a magic fight between gods and old ones. I
Huh.
mean, that to me sounds like major historical events. And with a scion who's able to attune to objects, I feel like we could probably learn something from that.
Yeah, I could use my power to delve into all the events that have happened within the last 1,000 years in that area. It's not a bad idea.
Do we want to do that then?
It's on the table. Probably should
Okay,
get
that's an
everyone
idea.
together.
One of the
See what
ideas.
yeah, should get
So
everybody
we got
together. Delith, Oz, and
yeah.
Polo.
I'll start making a list. We got ideas for the
See what they say.
Underdark. Got the super
Okay, I think I missed
Underdark.
why we would want to go to the Underdark.
Cause it's
Just
cool.
There's a fascination with it.
Oh, we could go to the cold Underdark.
Delith will be like, maybe we explore other options before the Underdark, because I
Okay.
don't see a clear reason to be there.
So while you guys are all thinking, and I guess this is a, where's what, a where's Waldo type of situation. And you guys have a clear, spot of like, this orb might be on that mountain, but this key, on the other hand, maybe this key or the information might be on this mountain, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we do need to go pick up some stuff from Zarnath.
Yeah. Start with Zarnath.
Do you want to maybe? Could you take us to a map of the world really quick?
Yeah.
And then from
Yeah, I could do
Zarnath, we
that.
could probably figure out from there where we need
Yeah,
to
because
go.
we might be able to swing back to Zarnath. And then let's see. Well, let me share my. There you go, Stream Casino. We might. I think Zarnath was somewhere up here, right? Or no, Zarnath was up here.
It is up here.
That's
Near
Zarnath?
the
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's near the
That's where the
crater.
happy
Well,
face
Yeah,
is.
we can kill two
Zarnath
birds with
is
one stone. There you
right
go.
next to the crater, then.
And that'll be
I'll
my
put a.
that'll be Ashmore's vote then. Go see if there's anything else. Find that Zarnath, and then
Yeah, there
you know,
are a
he's not
couple
opposed to checking
spells
out
I'd
the crater area.
probably like to check into getting while I'm here. Copy them into my book and stuff. But oh, and the beach.
In the beach.
Man, the beach.
Yes. I'm gonna go up to Bulbous Bulbous Ball. Bulbous Ball. How do you get to the beach? Is there a nice
The
easy
beach.
way?
Like the I don't know of any beaches. Maybe in the Underdark.
Oh, the one right down there. And I walk over to a window and point down to the lava.
He like looks down. Oh, that's not a beach. That's a lava pit.
Yeah, but like, surely, I mean, you guys have a lot of steam power. Surely you've got access channels to go down there, right?
I mean, yes, of course, but
Ah, beach trip, here we come.
No. Okay.
Stella
Well, on
is
that
both
note,
on
that
confused
note,
and trying to pretend she doesn't know you anymore.
on that note, I have to head out.
alrighty.
Okay. No, guys, you have to trust me. Did you guys bring your swimsuits when you came to this continent?
Wasn't thinking about the beach, but
Delith looks at her winter coat and looks at Zinnia and is like, I'm not dignifying that with an answer.
Ah, damn, it's okay. We all forget something. I'm sure they've got somewhere around here where we could get some swimsuits. But no, so
highly doubt
I realized it though. So with elemental protection, we can survive lava at my level.
Oh wow.
So we could just have a really
Oh,
cool
wow.
hot spring session. What do you think?
Delith understands magic, understands how much magic can do, and still thinks that's a terrible.
Look, okay, the only restriction
Swimming
is
in
that
lava is not good.
hey, don't swim in the lava. I was about to say, only condition is my magic is only strong enough as long as you are less than halfway submerged. So up to your waist is fine. But don't
The waiting
dive
pool
in
of
the
lava.
water.
Oh boy.
So we could like just it'd be like the ultimate sauna. It'll be fun.
Ah.
Yeah, that's how I describe it too.
Right. I'll catch you all later.
All right,
Alrighty,
take
dude.
care.
Fair enough.
See you, Raz.